If you need a rep quickly or a clinical person or a technician, you can automatically connect with them without having to go through the process of connecting to that company. You can look for your need. I've got something broken. I need it fixed in 2 minutes. Help. Scroll, tap, connect.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Raving Patients podcast. As you know, I am your host, Dr. Len Tao. Hope everything's going well with you wherever you're listening to this from. Just to make people jealous, it's the beginning of February, and it's 80 degrees in South Florida where I reside. The gentleman I'm speaking to is in, I think he said it was snowing, it's cold. So I hope that when you listen to this or view this, that you're enjoying your day and things are going well for you. Today's episode is titled A New Communication Vehicle for Dentists. As many of you know, I like to bring in content or companies or products that are kind of new to the industry, so bring awareness to what's out there. So this is a communication tool. The name of the product is vTail Healthcare Communications. And today's guest is Mike McCarthy. So Mike, please welcome to the Raving Patients podcast.
Honored to be here, Dr. Tao. Thanks so much for having me. Big fan of your books as well as your podcast. So psyched to be here.
Well, I appreciate that. So I have one request, and I forgot to mention this to you when we did our pre-stuff. Call me Len. Dr. Tao is not needed for this in this context, but just call me Len. It's easy. Very casual.
You got it, Len.
So we're off to a good start here. So many people are not going to know about your product simply because it launched in September of 2021, and now you're in your first month of a soft launch in dental. You said about 2,000 dentists who have already downloaded and signed up for the app. So why don't we learn a little bit about your background, let the viewers and listeners know a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you help people, and then we'll get into the specifics about why people should download the app, what they're going to get from it, the advantages and disadvantages of it. So we'll get into all the content we want to talk about.
Great. And thanks for the opportunity and the platform. I am a seasoned veteran of dental and dental marketing, but out of business school, I went right into pharma and worked for Eli Lilly, and this will show my age. But right time, right place, I was put on a drug they were trying to market called Prozac. So it was the right drug, right time, and I kind of shot up the pharma ranks and was dealing with a lot of, Madison Ave marketing agencies. And Lilly was a great company, but they had moved me, a New Yorker, to Indianapolis full time. And well, it was a shocking life change being a born and raised New Yorker. So I had become such friends with the owners of the marketing agencies that I jumped back to the agency side and wound up starting one of the first digital ad agencies with Deutsch, big Madison Ave firm. And we launched one of the first digital agencies back when there was Usenet groups and email lists and listservs. So, yeah, I am 55 years old and I'm proud of that. But we sold that to a conglomeration a couple of years after. And I thought, I'm too young to just fly fish for the rest of my life. And coming back from a flight from Microsoft, I sat next to a woman who owned a dental marketing agency. And she said, could you come in? Could you give us some pointers? And I'm like, pharma, healthcare, how hard could dental be? Well, that was about 22, 23 years ago. And I just got bit by the bug. I saw an underserviced, underrepresented profession. There's some really bad jokes out there of, well, dentists aren't real doctors. Hygienists are ladies who scrape teeth. And I was like, wow, if I can leave my mark on helping the elevation of the profession. Personally, a hygienist saved my life. I was, well, in two ways. Saved me with the Heimlich maneuver while I was choking in the dental office. But I was also a smoker at the time and had pretty advanced perio disease. And I remember spitting into a cuspidor and just seeing a sea of blood. And this is just when I started working dental. And the hygienist gave me a coupon for Nicorette gum and told me the blood was due to smoking. And if I kept up, I wouldn't have any teeth in about 5 years. So I credit her. I quit smoking a week after that and saved my teeth. But my lifelong, aside from making money and dealing with just about every dental company and representing them, creating their ads, their websites, dental just caught me and it's been my passion. I thought I retired about 5 years ago, kept a couple consultants, but vTail came knocking on my door through a client, through Geislick Pharmaceuticals. I was working with their bone regeneration department, and through friends of friends, we were introduced, and they came at me hard and said, Mike, we'll let you do what we want. We're a healthcare app that allows clinicians to communicate with manufacturers. You know, COVID has disrupted the whole sales process. Clinicians don't even know who their reps are anymore.
Yeah, reps don't even come in your office. I mean,
Well, there you go. But I only had one request. Orthopedics was first, general surgery. I only had one request, that dental be moved from the 10th vertical to the second vertical. That if you wanted me as chief marketing officer, let me bring the profession that can use this app most to the forefront. They agreed, and I've been with them for just under a year and couldn't be happier. The app has delivered on every promise. The investors, the well fundedness behind the company, I get to bring it properly to the dental community. So there you go. That's me.
that's really good. So let's start off with this relationship that has kind of changed because of COVID between the clinicians, the manufacturers, and other people that are involved in the industry. So why don't we start there? Obviously, as I mentioned, reps don't even come into my office anymore. They barely call me on the phone. A lot of them use LinkedIn to connect with me. So why don't you talk about what COVID did to this relationship?
Yeah, the app was in final development about a month before COVID. So I'd love to say COVID invented it, but it didn't. It just added to the value. But Len, when they brought me on board, I was impressed with the app. I did a lot of homework. I'm like, I can't believe this doesn't exist somewhere. Doesn't Hippocrates or some of the apps have this already? And there just wasn't a way for clinicians to easily communicate with the industry. So okay, that was check one. I'm like, I'm in on that. But I said, let me do some, as we've established, I'm an old dog already. But I'm a diehard market research fan and usually won't make a move without some good research. So the company allowed me to interview surgeons, nurses, dentists, hygienists, and I'll stick to dental on this one. But at the time, in the heat of COVID, there was 95% no rep C policies. This goes for private practices, large group, and DSOs. And some have kept that. Dental reps, it's an interesting situation because the dentist is a business owner and they buy products for themselves. They're not underwritten by a hospital or a healthcare group per se. So what I heard was, Mike, I have problems with my equipment. I don't know who to go to. Mike, I need to download instructions for this. Mike, I need to find out who's got PPE available. I need disinfectant. I got to keep up with OSHA. My distributor's out. Where do I go? So it all made sense that this vehicle was needed. What made more sense was there was a clear delineation between age of dentist that would readily use this app and age that would have a learning curve. And we found that the 50 and under set is more beholden to their mobile device than the 50 and above set. And it came down to technological advances, comfort level, what you learned on. Were your textbooks digitized or did you have old paper books? So we knew there was a mass of dental clinicians that were ready to accept. And when you bring it to the 30 years old and under set of dental clinicians, they're like, what's a desktop? It's just everything is on the phone. So, that justified and validated the need for a mobile app and just how many hours they spend on that phone per day. So that was the genesis, and here we are.
Yeah, that you're 100% right. I'm 48 years old, so not much younger than you. I grew up on computers. My whole life runs on a computer or a phone. I get my screen time from Apple every however how long they send it. It's probably every week, and I'm on my phone 9 to 10 hours a day. And I do everything on my phone. I'm always connected. I'm a vendor, as you know, so I have a unique experience here. I'm a dentist. I'm a vendor, so I interact with patients, but I also interact with clients of mine. And one of the things I pride myself in is how responsive I am, and how someone can reach out to me simply by sending me a text or calling me. That's just the way I've been learning to communicate for years with people. So this just seems like a natural fit, because having somebody consistently reaching out to someone's cell phone is, like personally, is kind of a pain in the butt for some people. So having a place where clinician or doctor can communicate directly with the manufacturer, or reps from the manufacturer, it sounds like a great synergistic relationship there.
Yeah, even though dental is in soft launch, we've had a good month of data, and we see the early adopters using it pretty much in three ways. One, there's an immediate problem that needs addressing. So I'll use the most common one thus far is digital sensors, extra digital radiological sensors, and either a loose connection or a broken cable or a patient bit too hard on the sensor. What we're finding these dentists doing is they're taking a photo or video of the problem on the app and sending it to the representative or the dealer distributor. So it's a nice visual way. It's cutting down on the verbal communication of trying to explain what the problem is. Second is our hygienists, and especially temporary hygienists who show up at a office. You can't find a hygienist nowadays. The demand is so high, but they show up to a practice and they don't know how to use the ultrasonic scaler that is there. So we've had hygienists go to a company, download the video or the instructions for use, and they get a crash course on what tip they should use, etc. And the third, which we're really excited about, every company on the app gets dedicated news feed. And I know I partner with all of the dental publications, the media. They're all great, but they're all, branded to their content. We have a news feed for every company that provides, we don't allow more than 5 minutes worth of reading or video content. So if you're on a bathroom break, if you're at Starbucks, you can catch up on what's really affecting the industry quickly and efficaciously. So we know we live in a TikTok world. We want to bring news, stories, clinicals in that same format. And if you want to go find out more, we'll link you to where the news is coming from.
So for those people who are kind of, still wondering what this actually is, this is an app, and I don't know if anybody can see it, but it's an app here that basically allows you to search for the different companies that are on here. And those are the companies that have basically paid to, it's almost like a marketplace, almost like an exhibit hall at a trade show. It's kind of how I look at it as, which gives you immediate access to these companies. And there's all the companies that they currently have on here, and you can scroll down and see them right there, and you can scroll down and see that they're there. And then when you click on one, and let's say I click on Cloud Dentistry happens to be a sponsor of my podcast, so we'll use them. We'll give them a little shout out here. It talks about the subscription. They can show you the local reps of who that company is. It gives you all the information about the company, so you can find out more of what they have to offer. So that's what we're talking about here. In case you're curious. So the goal here is obviously to have people download the app, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But obviously, there's a certain target audience you're looking for. There are some people who don't get this, and then there's the millennial crowd that all they do is they spend time on their phone. So who is the perfect candidate to download this? And I don't want you to cop out and say every dentist, because we know that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, who's your target audience? Why should they download it? What benefit are they going to get from it versus just dealing directly with the reps that they deal with on an everyday basis?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound a little altruistic, but I'm glad you brought up Cloud Dentistry, because they were one of the first companies to reach out and say, get us on. I think everybody's trying from at least a service provision standpoint to add more time to the dentist and the practices, the team's day. New things have come. You have to disinfect every operatory before. Everything's got to be, procedures, patients are masked. That's taken away time from your normal process. As good as it just adds a burden. So the dentist that is high volume, busy, and mobile savvy is really the target. And I don't want to just limit it to dentists. This is a resource for anyone in the practice. The office manager who doesn't need, hey, who's our rep this week? And she has to stop what she's doing and find out for the handpiece that's down or broken or the vacuum's jammed in the back. We just want to create efficiencies and ease of use. So we encourage any dental clinician, and I'm not saying everyone is right for it, but from dentist, hygienist, assistant, office manager, we have lab techs and lab owners on there. We're seeing that labs are using this with dentists right now, and it's helped on remake issues. Here's a photo of the shade that I'm looking for. Or is this impression a good one? Can you make that full on arch denture for me? The app is telling us how it's being used, and we're putting the resources behind it. But anyone that wants quick, easy access, I'm not going to be serving up clinical journals and peer reviewed analysis. If you're looking for, what's the name of that product? It's a new flowable composite. Go to our product database, type in flowable composite. You're going to get an unbiased serving of flowable composite products. If you want more information, click on it. What we are not is a commerce site. You will not buy anything on vTail.com. That's up to you. Wherever the product is sold, the app will tell you where you can go, but we're not about picking dentists' pockets or practice managers' pockets. And to validate that, we have no plans in the future. The app is free to dental clinicians to download and register. Companies are putting special vTail offers and promos up there. And just transparent for everyone listening, the way the app monetizes itself is we charge companies to be on the app. They get to promote their products. We do not violate with pop ups. We tell them this is a clinician first app. I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver, but it gives you a megaphone to amplify your brand. And I'd love to talk about what type of companies we have gotten on board.
Well, that was my next question is going to be, because we talked about having Bird Eye as one of the companies on there. So there are marketing companies on there. There are a lot of them are dental supply companies, or they provide equipment or consumables to dentists. And we said Cloud is on there. Cloud is a temporary employee product that will provide temporary employees to your practice. So let's go. Let's talk about the type of business or type of vendor that will be on these apps.
Yeah, and there's a big surprise here for anyone that's been in the industry to know for a while. There's four types of dental companies out there. There's the company that has no live sales representation whatsoever. Maybe it's just an e-commerce site and a figurehead, pushing out through social media or who knows. There's the company that only has dedicated sales reps and they don't sell through distribution. There's a company that has a hybrid approach. They have their own reps, but all the deals are done through a dealer or distributor. And then there's the company that only sells exclusively through dealers and distributors. We're open to any of them. What we found though is, and Len, you know this, Bird Eye is in and of itself, sales forces and marketing are huge expenses for companies. And, just putting a live person anywhere is a major investment. But some of these new great ideas, they can't even partner with a distributor due to the profit margin situation. So we have companies who have no large sales force, and it amplifies their message across the USA. It makes them visible to any dental practice or any DSO that is intrigued. So we're happy to provide that benefit. But we're also happy we have dealers, distributors, we have hybrid companies on board. What has happened is in during the research phase before launch, thousands of clinicians were reviewed, and I did a lot of dentist one-on-one interviews. Dentists didn't want to be beholden to 15 portals. So company X's portal and company Y's. Sure, the company wants that brand loyalty, but a dentist doesn't have time to go to 15 companies. They need a one-stop shop. They need a amalgamation of resources, and that's where we came in and where we've been a success. What I wasn't planning for, and I'll use an example if it's okay, not to give away free airtime, but they're on vTail. The very small unknown company that provides a unique service has gotten a lot of airplay. We have a company, and he's been a longtime friend, but it's a small lab in the Pittsburgh area called Easy Gold Crowns. And his business model is send me a digital scan of the molar that needs an inlay, onlay, or a crown. I will send you a finished gold restoration. Here's the price, easy peasy. It's out of the cosmetic zone. You know the value of gold. Boom. I got a call from him after the first week saying, Mike, you've changed our business model. We have people exploring us that we never would have had contact with before. So that warms my heart. A company that doesn't have the bandwidth or the monetary resources can exist on that form and get a seat at the table.
Gotcha. So I was just looking through some of these. So Align Technologies on there. I don't know what this Amon Gerbach. I never heard of that product or that company.
German CAD CAM company, been around for a couple hundred years, but they service the lab industry mostly.
Gotcha. And then you have GSK, Johnson and Johnson, those big huge companies. Septodont, Sunstar for hygiene stuff. Waterpik, Wells Fargo for financing, I'm assuming, or financial stuff. Xeris, which used to be the Isolite company. So there's a lot of companies on there, and I'm assuming you're growing it pretty quickly. So
we want to showcase, even if you're not a client, we want to put your products up there so our dental clients have access to a robust comparative database. We're really lucky, and even some of those companies right now, our biggest problem, and it's a good problem to have, is onboarding the companies. We're now on, much like your podcast, we're onboarding a dental company a day until April 16th. We give a full onboarding. Our customer success department trains the sales force, the marketing people, of how to use the app most effectively. So we're just gaining steam as we go along. And yeah, I will tell you, it's been the easiest sell in my very long career. It's logical to people. And we keep it simple. It's free for the clinicians. The prices are less than a banner ad a month for a company to join. So things will change over time. We're going to have increased iteration, but I've never worked for such a well-funded, well-structured corporation, which happens to be based out of the UK. But we decided to launch in the US first.
You also mentioned about news, okay, and how a company can release a news, whether it's PR stuff or something about a product they have. If someone is on the app, do they have to follow that business? How does that work? Is it just available under the news section? So talk about, somebody joins and says, hey, I want information on these 4 companies. Will they only get information on those 4 companies, or when you send it to the app, anybody in the app will see it?
They have control of what they see and what they want to feed, obviously. But the algorithm, when you onboard, it takes about 2 minutes to download and onboard. It's not a pain in the neck process. But the algorithm will match up what your interests are with the companies that first and foremost service your interest. The clinician, so, Len, you would have the ability to look through the entire dental company database and choose the companies, much like any other news feed that's out there that you have choice. We try not to bother the clinicians with in-app notifications, but companies do have the ability to promote certain things. And we do have a web platform behind the mobile app as well. So we'll do some email marketing, but our goal is not to be overburdening and, pay to play type situation. We want to deliver you the news that you have selected you want. But what is super nice about the app is if you need a rep quickly or a clinical person or a technician, you can automatically connect with them without having to go through the process of connecting to that company. You can look for your need. I've got something broken. I need it fixed in 2 minutes. Help. Scroll, tap, connect.
Gotcha. So before we move into the other section, what I consider the fun section of the podcast, where we're going to ask you some lightning round questions, other than we'll provide the link to people to download in a couple seconds, is there anything else that you think is important to let the listeners and the viewers know about vTail or the future of the product or, again, anything you want to talk about?
I would, the average user, and this is kind of scary, has 7 pages on their phone of applications and probably uses maybe 6 to 7 of them routinely. I know my favorite app in the world is Waze, the GPS directional app. I think it's fun. I love knowing where police are on the highway, and I use it when needed. I don't want to overpromise anyone and say I want you to use vTail every day, twice a day. vTail is a resource that's there when you need it. Our advisory board, the clinicians, you and I have talked at length about this. If you do download it, put it on your home screen. And when that dental issue comes up, whether you need information, pricing, help, technical support, you'll know where to find it. It's a big V that'll be on your screen. But Len, we're gonna provide the best way, and we'll have some special features. They'll know about them when the podcast launches. But if they go to join.vtail.co, that's co, /raving, I will know that it is one of your loyal followers, and we're going to serve up something extra special to them, and not cheap tchotchke. There'll be something of value. Whether you and I work on CE, maybe it's a copy of your book. You and I will knock heads after this on what they're going to receive. But I can't thank you enough for exposing us to your audience.
So just to repeat, it's join.vtail.co /raving, RAVING. So I just want to be everybody clear that that's the site you want to go to, and you'll be able to download the app, sign up for it, and they'll know it's coming from this podcast or however else, anything. Perfect. Okay. Before we wrap it up, as I told you, I like this section called Pod Decks. We picked a pod deck called The Hustler, which is all about business. So I'm going to ask you some questions here. What I always say, and there's nothing inappropriate. This is all, he chose the Hustle, which is all about business. So the point of this is to let people know a little bit more about you and how you tick. You don't have to answer these long-winded, could be quick, fast answers. So, what distracts you the most every day?
Wow. Thoughts of the weather and if and when I can get away and be on a trout stream. If I can go fishing, that's my distraction. What are the fish biting today?
Okay, great. In your difficult moments, how do you stay focused on moving forward and making progress?
I think I rely on my history of past performance. As I said, I'm not a newbie or a young one. And also I'm the child of 2 psychiatrists. So being raised and analyzed every morning at the breakfast table has given me a simple philosophy. Everything works out. If it doesn't work out the way you want, it works out anyway. So I'm a big believer in do good things, let karma take its toll, and you'll be rewarded in some level. But I try not to get mired down in what I did wrong or a misstep. I like to move forward and either make amends or do it right the next time.
Perfect. If you achieved all of your life goals tomorrow, what would you do next?
I would go for another advanced degree in a topic like medieval theology or Viking history. Just my personal interest. I'd love to become a better expert rather than just a guy who reads a lot of books. So, to be honest, I'd love to be a student again.
That's good. If you had one piece of advice to somebody just starting out, what would it be?
Decide what you want your brand to be and develop that. Stay in your lane. Don't try to be someone you're not. If you're a quiet, reserved, analytical person, be the best quiet, reserved, analytical person you can. Don't fake enthusiasm. Don't try to be over salesy. And this goes for a lot of dentists that I've worked with as well. Realize what you are as a brand and just try to heighten the good things. Don't pretend to be something you're not. You'll always be found out.
I like that a lot. Who is the one person you'd love to have as a mentor?
I wish she was still alive, but have been interested in her work since a kid. I wish Dr. Marie Curie was still alive to get inside her head, knowing the effects of radiation, why she would put her life before her work.
That's good. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be successful?
One, the ability to listen. I'm a big talker, but I learned early on that I like the sound of my voice. I learned it's more valuable to shut up and listen so that I can address people's needs and wants. I wasn't trained in sales in undergrad or grad, but I learned that the best salesperson will listen. I learned quickly the best asset you can have in your bank is a relationship. And if you spend time earning someone's trust and finding out about their interests and showing a genuine interest, that relationship will become currency somewhere down the road. Just as ours, Len. There's a big hope to be on the podcast one day. I leveraged our relationship. I know I might have been annoying, but thank you for having me on as a guest. I can check that off my list. And third is don't half-ass anything. Don't phone it in. If something's become routine and you've lost a passion for it, either try to find it again or let it go.
Okay, that's all. Those are awesome. I like the listening part too. I was not a great listener. I took some listening classes to become a better listener, so I appreciate that. What do you wish you had known when you started out?
Ooh. That politics and political beliefs would eke their way into business decisions. I've been a pretty apolitical guy. I'm kind of in the middle of everything, but I have seen business relationships, especially over the past 8 years, die based on people's political philosophies. And not being mean, I know it may affect performance and rates and interest, but God, I'm never willing to talk politics while I'm mixing business. Just not on my radar screen. I'm surprised that people have let it do such. And hey, neither good nor bad, just not part of my MO.
That's great. And last question. Is there a book that you recommend everybody reads?
Yeah. God, this is going to really sound cliche. But my go to resource is anything by Gladwell. The Tipping Point changed my life. And not so much as it provides a pathway of how to be successful, but how Gladwell presents cases. One, made it easy and enjoyable to read, and everyone who is a business, and I buy it for a lot of dentist friends of mine, can identify, whether it's Boeing, whether it's IBM, or whether it's a mom and pop cupcake shop. there's elements of success that are universal to everyone, and it doesn't talk at you, it talks to you. And I break a lot of rules. I have my own ethical standards, which I think are high. But if you present to me a textbook, and I'm just not the guy that's going to follow the A to Z footprint. I'm aspirational. You and I have shared before your list when you wrote when you were a 9-year old about what you wanted to accomplish in life. That still blows me away on a daily basis of what you've achieved. And, I resonate to people like that who don't preach, but rather share. So, yeah, Gladwell Tipping Point, my favorite book of all time.
Well, that was really well done. You're like one of the top performers in that section. That was really well thought out, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas. So to reiterate, guys, if you have interest in downloading the app can be found at join.vtail.co/raving. Raving. You can download the app. You can get information about these companies. Michael, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you letting the viewing and listening audience know about your new app.
Yeah.
And guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, then please share it. Please let other people know. Please let other people know about the app so they can download it as well. And we can add to the number of dentists that are already on this. If you like the episode, again, subscribe to the episodes. They come out Friday now at 5 a.m. in the morning. So you'll wake up it should be in your podcast if you subscribe. Always love reviews. Review us. I'm a review guy, as you know. Thank you to the sponsors of the podcast that allowed me to do this. And as I always state, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Michael, thank you for joining me today, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks, everybody.